This goes for celebratory whiskey.
Sorry.
ESPN welcomes you to the following presentation of the Southeastern Conference.
That feeling of having a newly minted CFP #1 next to your team's name. Georgia fans have watched their impenetrable defense lock up a trip to the SEC championship game quick as could be. But these dedicated dogs are thinking far beyond Atlanta. Is this the season that makes 41 years of waiting all worth it? It just may be. And today they try to take that next step on the path. Welcome to ESPN College Football, presented by Marathon. The Missouri Tigers, fresh off an SEC road win. They come to Athens, Georgia, facing the primed and punishing 8-0 #1 ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Good afternoon, everybody. Thrilled that you're with us to get your college football day started. Joe Tessitore alongside Greg McElroy. We had a visit with Kirby Smart yesterday. He said, listen, this whole idea that there's Georgia and then a gap to everybody else, he said, it's just not reality. What is reality are questions as to the offense. Stetson Bennett has been the starting quarterback. JT Daniels was out. He's working his way back.
Yeah, and Stetson Bennett's going to remain the starting quarterback. Right now, JT Daniels is available. He can throw without pain, but Stetson Bennett's mobility is what's given him the starting quarterback job. Here he is against Auburn. The quarterback draw. These yards are hard to gain in this part of the field. So, quarterback run, take advantage of it. What would be a normal 3 or 4 yard run turns into an 8-yard run because of Stetson Bennett. Here it is, zone read. End man of the line of scrimmage crashes down. He takes this play. It's a 30-yard gain. Makes guys miss in the open field. Same thing here for Kentucky. Kentucky crashes down on Cook. It's a negative 2-yard loss if JT Daniels is the quarterback. Instead, Stetson Bennett pulls it, and he turns what would have been a negative play into a positive play. He might miss a throw or two that JT Daniels would make, but the mobility, being able to keep defenses honest, is why he's the starting quarterback today and will remain the starting quarterback until Kirby Smart feels as though they need to get into a throw-a-thon.
Missouri won the toss. They elect to receive. Mizzou will be starting without their talented quarterback Connor Bazelak. Suffered an injury last week's win at Vandy. Katie?
Yeah, so I spoke with veteran wide receiver Kiki Chisholm, who actually pulled Tyler Macon and Brady Cook aside on Wednesday night to encourage the young quarterbacks who were coming into this moment. And he said, be confident in your abilities. He also told them when you trust yourself, it energizes the entire offense and raises everyone's level of play. He also reminded both QBs, no one is expecting you to be perfect. There's no need to be a hero here. Relax, play fast, clean football.
So Tyler Macon gets the start, the freshman from St. Louis, as he will open up with a pass attempt, sidearms it and incomplete as he was trying to get it to Barrett Bannister. Macon replaced Connor Bazelak in the fourth quarter last week at Vandy, was able to cap a drive there with a 2-yard touchdown run.
And with this Missouri offense, we know that this Georgia defense is phenomenal, but the Missouri offense is designed to really base on the outside, really stretch the defense on the outside on the perimeter. Macon's speed and athleticism might actually give them a slight advantage that they wouldn't have had with Connor Bazelak. So they missed their starter, but Macon's a capable backup.
He's going to run it on second down. You can see that speed as he's able to get to the edge against this talented Georgia defense that's only allowed 5 touchdowns the entire season.
And this is obviously a completely different defense than Georgia, or different offense than Georgia's really prepared for too. The speed at quarterback makes this offense very difficult to defend.
Chisholm able to get a first down. Georgia linebacker Adam Anderson is out as the program announced his indefinite suspension from the team. This news comes in the wake of an ongoing investigation by the Athens-Clarke County Police Department. A 21-year-old woman has accused Anderson of rape. Anderson has not been arrested, has denied the allegations through his attorney.
Illegal snap on the offense, number 55, 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Kirby Smart, who has seen his defense with astounding numbers, a stop rate of over 90% of their opponent's drives. Eli Drinkwitz, his second year at Mizzou. Last year, 5-5. This year, a lot of struggles defensively, and now without his starting quarterback on the road against number 1. Quickly getting it out into space, but going nowhere that time, as it was Trayvon Walker who was able to make the tackle.
And this is a Missouri offense that can't go straight at the Georgia Bulldogs. They're just too strong. They're too powerful. They're too good up the middle of the defense with Jordan Davis and Trayvon Walker and Wyatt. They're just too strong in the middle. So what Missouri's going to have to do is really use misdirection and try to play sideline to sideline. So Eli right now, as you can see, calling a lot of plays to the perimeter.
2nd and 19 after Lovett was tackled for a loss of 4. Tyler Beatty is finding it tough against the inside of that Georgia defense. Beatty comes in leading the SEC in rushing yards as he came in 11 shy of having a 1,000-yard season.
And these are the down and distances that Missouri just absolutely has to stay out of. You have a young quarterback in Tyler Macon, a guy that's really going to make his hay with his legs, and you're in 3rd and forever. You have to be more efficient on 1st and 2nd down.
Look at Nolan Smith, number 4, ready to come off that edge. 3rd and 19. They'll play it conservative on the ground as Beatty will be wrapped up near the 45-yard line. As he goes for 10 yards, 3rd and 19, so the punt team will trot on out there. Quick chat. Drinkwitz and his freshman quarterback, Tyler Macon. Graham McInnes, transfer from Kentucky, on to punt. Kearis Jackson has been the reliable return man for Georgia. Fair catch at the 18.
Well, guys, Kirby Smart told me that JT Daniels is ready to play. He's thrown without pain since the bye week. He was able to go through all of his reps last week preparing for Florida, as well as this week preparing for Mizzou. But Kirby Smart says you got to go with the guy that gives you the best opportunity to win, which may change based on game plan and opposing defenses. But right now, Smart says Stetson Bennett is that guy. He gives Georgia its best chance to win.
And Katie, now 6 starts for Stetson Bennett, as JT Daniels been out with that lat injury. Zamir White in the backfield with him. And he is tackled for a loss right away. That was Trajan Jeffcoat, who was all SEC a year ago.
And when you look at Stetson Bennett, he's not going to jump off the page because of the measurables. But what people continue to overlook is the guy can create with his legs. He's very mobile. He's very athletic. And this is a run-based offense. There's no denying that. This is a offensive line that wants to impose their will, and the quarterback being able to create on his own is something that is very advantageous and difficult to defend. So that's why Stetson's the guy.
2nd and 11. There's the slant as he gets it complete to Ladd McConkey, who has been a breakout star for Georgia this year. Scout team player a year ago, and now a very active part of the passing game.
And they bring pressure off the left-hand side. Stetson Bennett calmly sees it and throws right into the blitz. That's a good job by the quarterback. Take advantage of the pressure from Missouri's defense.
After the 14-yard completion, this is James Cook. Let's check in with Matt Berry in the studio.
Picks up 3 to the 34.
Hi, Joe Tessitore, LL Bean studio update. Happy College Football Saturday. We figured there would be points in Ole Miss and Liberty. 2nd play of the game for Ole Miss. Jerrion Ely, 70 yards for the touchdown. Lane Kiffin up early, 7-0.
Corral and Willis going head-to-head there. Liberty and Ole Miss. Fun game there. Georgia's first possession here. Bennett off of play action. Has time. Downfield and incomplete as he was looking for Arian Smith, who is back healthy after dealing with a small fracture in his leg. Coverage came from Chris Abrams-Drain.
That was a great job defensively there by Missouri, staying at home, playing their principles, and not overreacting to the play fake. This is where Missouri has to live. This is a Georgia team that, as we've referenced, they are excellent when it comes to controlling the line of scrimmage and making it third and manageable. When they get off schedules where they get into some problems. So third and longs, you need to see a lot of those if you're a Missouri fan, because this is not where Georgia's at their best.
3rd and 7. Bennett being chased back inside his own 20, and then will just burn it as Jeff Coate was able to get some pressure on Stetson Bennett. He's right in the middle of the opposing bench.
Good job there by Missouri's pass rush, and an excellent job in the secondary. There was nowhere for Stetson Bennett to go with that football. Just great coverage on consecutive plays from the Tigers.
Jay Camarda to punt. Boo Smith, the return man for Mizzou. We're going to reset the clock here. Chilly day between the hedges. Woke up, everybody came to the stadium. It's 40 degrees down here in Athens, Georgia, and everybody's making it over to the stadium. Camarda punt to the 22-yard line. Boo Smith trying to find something on return, and he reverses course and says, give me that block on the outside, and a very nice return from Deontay Boo Smith. So Mizzou, maybe without its starting quarterback, but others stepping up. Good return by Smith. Glad you're with us, watching the SEC on ESPN. Joe, Greg, and Katie here in Athens, Georgia, scoreless early between Mizzou and the #1 team in the country. Don't forget to check out the Great Clips Command Center broadcast of this game, streaming now on ESPN3 and the ESPN app. Georgia has held opposing quarterbacks to the lowest rating of any defense in FBS, 13.4, and here they have a true freshman quarterback standing opposite big Jordan Davis, one of the most intimidating players in all of college football. As Beatty takes it ahead and picks up about 1.5 yards. Well, many say he should be in contention for the Heisman, Jordan Davis. Defensive lineman who's been dominating, Katie.
Yeah, and he shared a really special moment with his mom earlier during pregame. He and Shay held hands, and the two prayed for over 2 minutes together. Afterwards, she gave him a big kiss and wished him good luck, and then he turned and took some selfies with fans standing by before resuming his warm-up. So a pretty special moment there pregame with mom.
No doubt about it. There have been many great stories written. Beatty takes it ahead past midfield about the relationship between Jordan and Shay. He was a basketball player in high school, and it was mom who really pushed him towards football midway through high school, and all he's done is developed into 6'6", 340 pounds of an unstoppable force, clogging up the middle of that defense and letting everybody else run free and get all the glory stats.
Yeah, he should be in the Heisman mix. I don't care what anybody says. He's the only player that nobody else has. Nobody else in college football has a Jordan Davis. That's why Georgia's defense is one of the best in college football.
3rd down and 4. Macon, this is what he can do best. Look at him straight ahead, gashing into that Georgia defense for a 1st down. And Missouri is on the move early on. A 20-yard gain by the freshman backup quarterback, Tyler Macon.
Yeah, and you see the linebacker leave with the running back who motioned out of the backfield, indicating man-to-man. This is a great job by Eli Drinkwitz, acknowledging what Georgia does defensively. And when you have man-to-man coverage, guess what kills it? Quarterback run. Macon does an excellent job on the draw to convert on the 1st down.
Macon tried to get it out quickly and then sidearms it, but goes incomplete. Toski Dove should have held on to that.
Well, right now, I like what Missouri's doing offensively, just showing one thing and going with something completely different. A lot of eye candy, and Kirby Smart and his defensive coordinator, Dan Lanning, they're going to have to make some adjustments because right now, this Missouri offense is pressing all the right buttons.
Macon, another design quarterback run, and he's able to slither free inside the 20-yard line. So Mizzou is getting a spark with Tyler Macon.
Yeah, they are. How about that run? I can't help, by the way, by looking at Tyler Macon with his build, with his mobility. I can't help but see Chase Daniel with the number, by the way. I don't know, something about this guy. As you can see, difficult to bring down. Does a great job breaking tackles and making this third down very manageable for this Missouri offense.
After the 8-yard run, it's 3rd and 2. Jordan Davis on the sideline watching here on 3rd down as they stem the defensive line. There's a miscommunication with the freshman and the running back Beatty, and that'll stop him as it was Brini who made the tackle.
And that was, I believe, on the running back, because if you look at what Missouri was blocking, watch Beatty escape to the left. I mean, he just rolls right out to the left, and there's nobody home. But it looks like quarterback wrap right there based on what they were blocking up front.
Harrison Mevis has made 19 straight field goals in his career. This is a 36-yard attempt. And it just sneaks in. 20 straight field goals for Mevis. And Mizzou takes an early field goal lead over #1 Georgia.
And I know y'all don't believe what I say. I know you say, yeah, whatever, that's just coach speak. We have confidence in our quarterbacks. I can't explain it any more than that. And I know y'all don't believe it.
There's JT Daniels, the presumptive starting quarterback. He started all 3 games he has played, but has not played since the first quarter of the Vandy game. Greg back on September 25th. Stetson Bennett gets the start again for Georgia. He was 1 of 3 passing for 14 yards on that opening drive. He did have 1 first down. Meanwhile, just moments ago, it was the true freshman backup quarterback who got the start today, Tyler Macon, in place of the injured Connor Bazelak, who brought his team down the field for a 7-play drive capped by a field goal.
And I know y'all don't believe what I say. I know you say, yeah, whatever, that's just coach speak. We have confidence in our quarterbacks. I can't explain it any more than that, but I'm not losing sleep over it, guys, because it's beyond our control. Stetson Bennett is a really good quarterback. And I keep saying that, and people don't believe us, but he's a good quarterback. I'll say it again. I'm really okay with whoever the best guy that gives us the best chance to win is, and that's based on practice and health. And it'll continue to be that way the rest of the year.
At the end of the day, we went with continuity. We think we have 2 really good quarterbacks, and I'm very pleased with both.
I mean, this has just been a loop for Kirby Smart, Craig, all year long, of having to answer the question of what's going on with the quarterback situation. Obviously, Daniels, the lat injury. Bennett's been in there. He talks about who's available to practice, who's actually out on the field, who's winning football games, who's leading the team.
And who's rusty, right? I mean, and JT Daniels didn't throw the ball without pain for better part of a month and a half. And to expect him to just come right out and take over the reins as if there was no time missed whatsoever is just inaccurate. So Stetson Bennett's done a great job. I think people get so wrapped up in the recruiting world. Well, he doesn't have 5 stars. He must not be any good. He's very good. He's very solid and complements this run game with his own mobility.
Zamir White catches a lane, and White is able to burst ahead. And that after the penalty as he brings it out to the 32-yard line. You hear the cascade of Zeus, his nickname, from the crowd here at Sanford Stadium. You bring up the recruitment. Listen, Bennett, his only FBS scholarship came from Middle Tennessee State. We get it. But this isn't high school right now. He's out there proving himself.
Yeah, and the reason why he wasn't heavily recruited is because he's 5'10 and a half. I mean, that's a big part of it, is looking the part, and he doesn't look the part. And I think that's what people have a difficult time with. Look at the productivity. Look at the offense.
2nd down and 2. And looking like he's getting that line again is Zamir White. Let's go to the studio.
Zamir White carries.
studio update. Everyone thought maybe North Carolina could trip up Wake Forest. Sam Howell scoffs at sliding. He just lowers his shoulder. North Carolina up 7-3 early. Demon Deacons on the move.
The 8-0 Demon Deacons. Not much at all for Zamir White, as he found a wall of Mizzou defenders right in the middle of that defense. Helmet came off too at the end of that play.
Yeah, and I want to get back to the quarterback conversation with Kirby Smart as well too. I mean, JT Daniels is a great player, great thrower, very accurate, and there might be a play or two every game that Stetson Bennett might leave on the field in the passing game. He might be one or two plays a game that JT Daniels would more consistently execute in the passing game. But there's also a play or two every game that Stetson Bennett makes with his legs that JT Daniels couldn't make. So I think riding the hot hand is the appropriate play, and JT Daniels will be there when you need him.
Well, that happened last week against Florida. We saw that. And that is off the hands of A.D. Mitchell. Fine-looking freshman. Was thrown just a little bit behind him, but he couldn't come up with the catch.
That was a tough throw there. In a tight window, a second window slant. Stetson tried to squeeze it in there. Mitchell couldn't reel it in.
3rd down and 10.
It's like pressure from Missouri, just flat top defense, but it's like they're starting to get a little depth now. Martez Manuel.
3rd and 10, pick up the pressure. Bennett drives the ball to midfield and is able to get it complete to A.D. Mitchell for a 1st down.
Number 5, A.D. Mitchell.
Allie Green had coverage for Mizzou.
This is just great timing. As you can see, the off coverage, good route by A.D. Mitchell. Gets his depth and the ball right on the money at exactly the right time. It was well covered too. As you see, sells it to the outside like he's going deep. Breaks it off on a dime, and Stetson delivers.
Cook. Oh, they're stacking things up front is Mizzou, and this is a team that has really struggled against the run. Vanderbilt went for 258 rush yards against Missouri a week ago.
Yeah, I'm a little shocked, frankly. We're only 12 minutes into the game, but I'm amazed at how well this defensive line for Missouri has played. Steve Wilkes, the new defensive coordinator for Missouri, this defense has really had their challenges. A little bit undersized, and they're holding up right now against a very powerful Georgia offensive line.
2nd down and 10. McIntosh comes into the game. Smith, the speedy Smith, draws closer into the slot. Bennett on 2nd and 10. And fighting for the ball that time was Rosemy Jack-Saint. He was well covered by Chris Abrams-Drain, but Marcus Rosemy Jack-Saint just wrestling that ball on the sideline.
How about those hands right there? Wow. I mean, just stealing it. Looked like the corner had the play.
McIntosh, a couple yards there. First time Georgia's in Missouri territory today, Greg.
How about this catch? They're making note, by the way, because Abrams-Drain playing very aggressive at 10 yards. It's double move city, so just keep an eye on it. Offensive coordinator Todd Monken, at some point, if that's how Abrams-Drain wants to play it, you got to go with an out and up, because if he's squatting at 10 yards, the deep ball is going to go right over his head.
And under center, giving to McIntosh on 2nd and 9. They're still trying to pound the door with the run game and only getting minimal yardage. Isaiah McGuire this time with the tackle. I mentioned how much they have struggled stopping the run. So far, not today, but look at these rankings nationally, Greg.
Yes, there are, Tess, double check, there are only 130 teams in the FBS. So there's quite literally nowhere to go but up for this Missouri defense. But they have been up to the task so far against a Georgia offense that is without their left tackle.
Slow and steady, 10th play of this drive. It's a 3rd and 8, and with his legs, Bennett cannot shake free. Blaze Aldridge makes the tackle, as Bennett was only able to get 3 yards that time.
So you can see Wilkes, first year as the defensive coordinator, Not a crazy deep group. Trying to create problems for Georgia with their movement and athleticism. So far, they've done a really nice job. Critical down here, though, for Georgia's offense, just outside of field goal range.
4th and 5. And call it 6 here. Bennett, a little bit of pressure. He wants more than just the first down. He wants the end zone, and Arian Smith gets it for him. 35-yard touchdown. Stetson Bennett to the speedy Arian Smith on 4th down. That's the way you strike.
How about the anticipation from Stetson Bennett? He's releasing the football right now, and look where the receiver is. He's barely out of his break. This is pure anticipation and throwing to a launch point. Just a beautiful throw from Stetson Bennett.
Smith, who was an All-American track star here at Georgia, he turned it on. Bennett put it out there. And at the end of the rainbow, jackpot. 7-3, number 1 Georgia.
ESPN College Football is presented by Marathon, driven forward, and in part by Mazda.
Some of the many Uggas across campus here at Athens. I think we jogged past about 3 or 4 of those yesterday.
At least 3 or 4.
7-3, the Dogs on top as we check in with Matt Berry.
It is time for the Rocket Mortgage Studio update. Keeping an eye on Wake Forest and North Carolina. Been entertaining. Sam Hartman had a guy open. Decides he wants to keep it himself. Good call. Wake Forest up 10-7 in that one. And a early surprise in the Big Ten West. Minnesota leads that division. They're also down 14-0 to Brett Bielema in Illinois early in that one.
Thank you, Matt. So Howell and Hartman going back and forth. And now we go from Macon to Cook. Brady Cook is the new quarterback for Mizzou after Tyler Macon had some success, but this is the plan with Bazelak out. As Cook will complete his first pass of the afternoon, Kiki Chisholm. So Brady Cook is a redshirt freshman, Chaminade High School right there locally in St. Louis, has a little more experience within the system than Macon, who we saw earlier. He was an early enrollee, came in, so almost full 2 years in the system.
Yeah, and very accurate passer. Not necessarily the same type of threat to run that Macon would be, but this gives you a little different look when he's under center, especially with what they can attack through the air.
Macon had 40 yards rushing to this point. They go to Lovett as Lovett gets ahead for a gain of 3. And that'll bring us to the end of the first quarter. A first quarter that saw Mizzou get on the board first against the #1 team in the country before Stetson Bennett had a beauty to Arian Smith, thus the 7-3 lead. Don't go anywhere. Today's Weekend Wake Up is brought to you by Wendy's Breakfast.
And you look at some of these matchups. By the way, Wendy's Breakfast, amazing. Breakfast Baconator. Oh,
really?
Love that bacon. All right. When you look at it, this game, to me, Oregon on the road at Washington fascinates me. I don't know why. This Oregon team in weather, by the way, this is an Oregon team that really started to throw the ball with a little more consistency. Well, in rain, will they be able to? I don't like Washington very much at all, but that game to me just feels dangerous for the Ducks.
Start on the offense, number 54, 5-yard penalty. It remains 3rd down.
That's Luke Griffin, the right guard, who moved early. So they go from a 3rd and 2 to a 3rd and 7. Remember, Brady Cook is now the quarterback for Eli Drinkwitz. They started with Tyler Macon. Connor Bazelak is out. He was injured last week against Vandy. There's Macon looking on. Cook, the redshirt freshman. Swinging out of the backfield to Beatty. Beatty's going to try to get the corner. That is tough to do against the Georgia defense. Nothing happening there as Keely Ringo comes up. He's been emerging as a big contributor. He's be the shutdown corner in years to come.
And he's been amazing too. I mean, just so good. And when you look at this Georgia team, and the one area that I think most people would have told you I'm a little concerned about is the cornerbacks. Right? Well, Darren Kendrick's been fantastic as expected, but Keely Ringo's presence has been massive for a team that came into the year with a little bit of a question at that position.
McInnes' second punt, and it is blocked. Georgia with the block, and special teams out of the back of the end zone. Nolan Smith came flying in. They did it again. There they got after Arkansas pretty good early on in that game as well. And here, with all that speed, they come after Grant McInnes.
And as you see Missouri, I mean, they're all to the right-hand side. There's nobody to the left, which is just a free run for Nolan Smith. The shield doesn't stay patient enough, and he goes right around, blocks it with ease. Just a great job, but did they recover it in the end zone? Doesn't appear as though they
worthy
did.
of a review, though.
Worth taking a peek at, but that's one, it's almost too easy. You lose sight of where you're at, and what was a sure touchdown becomes a safety rather quickly. Yep.
Tough to get possession there. Let's bring in our rules expert, John Perry. It's a pretty easy one to see, isn't it, John?
Test, they're going to get some points, but not what they'd like to get. He just does not maintain possession of this football. And the same requirements with a catch. He's got to have firm control and get a body part, and then he's got to have some time with the ball under his control. He does not. Safety.
No, the he we speak of is Dan Jackson.
That's one right there. That's like missing a 6-inch putt. I mean, it's the easiest thing in the world, and yet you just hit the lip right there. I mean, just a heartbreaker for Jackson, as he could have done the moonwalk into the end zone and pounced on the football for a touchdown.
10 is 42.
Following the safety, Missouri with the free kick from the 20.
Dan Jackson couldn't corral it, so the free kick now for Mizzou as Ketting is on, and Kearis Jackson is deep with a return opportunity. And he does so from the 12-yard line. Here is Kearis Jackson, and Georgia will start things off at the 38.
Well, guys, after the first quarter touchdown celebration ceased on the Georgia sideline, Stetson Bennett checked in with JT Daniels for a few moments. And Kirby Smart says JT does a great job of communicating, calling out coverages, saying what he saw and what to look for. And Kirby tells both these guys, I fully expect you to support one another and be there for each other. He says they've handled the situation the right way, and their interaction, guys, is genuine.
Well, the only guy that knows what it looks like from the position that Stetson Bennett's in is JT Daniels. Having that set of eyes on the sideline is massive for every starting quarterback.
James Cook patiently using his blocks and scooting ahead for 8 yards before Chad Bailey takes him down. Well, Stetson has said it in recent weeks. He said, listen, we're two guys that absolutely love this team. He said, I go to the sidelines and JT's there giving me the coverages post-snap. We're helping each other out all the time.
Absolutely, and you never know. I mean, you never know when your number is going to be called. I mean, you think about Georgia. How many times have they played Alabama now with the backup quarterback comes off the bench and wins the game? Twice. Once in the national championship, once in the SEC championship.
They do not need to be reminded.
Well, you need two. You got JT Daniels will have an impact on this season for the Georgia Bulldogs. There's no denying that. You never know when your number is going to be called. So he's got to constantly stay ready now that he's back at 100% health.
Byers with the tackle at James Cook. He only gets a yard there, so it's 3rd and 1.
You can expect here on short yardage, just pound the football from the Georgia Bulldogs. Probably something vertical with Zamir White.
Tight splits on 3rd and 1. Flag is down as White does take it ahead based on that mark for the first down. We'll check on the flag.
Offside on the defense, number 18 lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. The yardage results in a first down.
Matt Berry, what's up?
Well, Joe Test, the Sam Howell show continues against Wake Forest. I mean, this guy literally does not know how to slide. Look, this is a shot McElroy wish he had in his bag. Just able to bowl over defenders. North Carolina up 14-10.
I want no part of contact at any point. The only contact I want is between me and Joe. I can handle him if he tackles me in the open field, but real Division I football players, I want no part of it.
Bennett, look at the time, look at the opportunity downfield, and look at the results! Jermaine Burton! Touchdown Dogs! 47 yards! My, oh my, has been enjoying the deep ball today. We got to watch for Jermaine Burton's knee here right at the goal line, Greg, but what a play.
Fantastic catch. Is the knee down right there? Looks like that right knee might be down just a little bit short.
The ruling on the field is a catch for a touchdown. That play is under review.
Yeah, as you see that right knee right there. Probably going to be first and goal at the 1. Great effort. We warned you there a couple drives ago that if Abrams drain the corner, if he wants to cheat and kind of squat at 10 yards, you're going to throw it over his head. And Burton goes up on a slightly underthrown deep ball and makes a fantastic catch.
Let's bring in our 3-time Super Bowl official, John Perry. John, we've got a pretty good look at the knee going down. Do you have the look you want in terms of where the ball is at that moment?
Well, what you do is you piece things together.
Video evidence shows that the runner's knee was down at the 1-yard line. The ball will be placed at that point. First down.
It's a nice job there. They'll piece when the knee is down, and they'll use the defender's chest because that ball's right on top of him, and he's at the 1-yard line.
Great look from our pylon cam. You see right there. A great job by these officials getting it spotted properly. Just an unbelievable catch there by Burton. Great concentration.
So it goes as a 46-yard reception. And it'll be first and goal with the ball at the 1-yard line. Double tight ends on the right side of the formation with Zamir White as the running back. And nothing happening at all. This Mizzou defensive front is really performing the best we've seen them all year long. They have struggled so much against the run.
No doubt. As you hear the crowd start to liven up, that's because the big fella, big number 99, Jordan Davis, and his partner in crime, Jalen Carter. 2 enormous dudes coming into the ball game for the Georgia offense. Going to line up at fullback and see if they can't overpower this Missouri front.
So here we go with 650 pounds of blocking for Zamir White. And that's exactly what it looks like when you have 2 human road graders in front of you. Touchdown, Dogs, Zamir White. Big Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. It was Carter who earlier this season took out 3 defensive players for Arkansas in that position.
All you can say right here, this is Jordan Davis on the left side of the screen. That was the play right before, but if they bring him in and Jordan Davis just plows down on the Missouri defender. And this is one of those plays where you honestly, you feel like you're talking to Liam Neeson and Taken. You just say, good luck. Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, you got 350 pounds of tight end moving the pile as Georgia strikes again.
Hey, Randy Moss is going to weigh in on the Odell Beckham Jr. situation on Sunday NFL Countdown tomorrow, and the inside story on how Phil Collins' song In the Air Tonight remains a pregame anthem in the NFL. 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. 16 unanswered points for Georgia after Mizzou took a 3-zip lead. We saw the big boys, defensive linemen, come in and play some offense moments ago.
Put this on the Heisman reel. Look at the big fella working against McGuire, who, by the way, is 270 pounds. He moves him like he's his little brother. I mean, Jordan Davis just absolutely punishing the end of the line of scrimmage. So powerful, so big, so easy for him to be able to move grown men.
6'6". They list him at 340. McGuire is 266. Byers, who was the other part of that down block on the inside that he crashed down on, is 288. And he just leaned into them and got rid of them. Mizzou goes back to Tyler Macon at quarterback. And he gets it complete to Beatty. Macon was the freshman who started the game. He has 36 yards rushing on just 4 carries.
You can see Brady Cook got himself a series, but at some point this Missouri offense playing very lateral right now, totally understandable, that's who they are. But at some point they have to challenge this Georgia defense deep. At some point, because these safeties and these linebackers are teeing off right now, and they're able to run sideline to sideline.
2nd and 7. Macon drifting back and then just gets a flick of the wrist, and that'll bring out the flag. As he was trying to get it to Lovett.
Pass interference on the defense, number 22, 15-yard penalty from the previous spot that carries an automatic first down.
And this is just a young quarterback. I mean, the receiver is wide open. I mean, he gets the first down, but watch how wide open this receiver is. I mean, this right here in the SEC, I mean, that's about as wide open as he gets. And Macon, instead, is way too late, throws it late off his back foot, and what would have been a big play turns into just a 15-yard gain. Those are the plays you cannot leave on the field if you're Missouri against a defense like this.
On board. Pass interference. That is tipped and bouncing around and then goes harmlessly to the ground.
It's a good job by Nico Hay right there on the give him a PBU, because this was a great play defensively there by Lewis Seen. But the ball harmlessly falls to the ground thanks to the tight end, number 48, Nico Hay.
Line stems, Beatty runs to the left, and Beatty with a first down for Mizzou, crossing midfield to the Georgia 45. Tyler Beatty has been one of the best running backs in the SEC. He's coming off a sensational game at Vandy. Went for 254 yards on the ground.
Beatty is probably one of the best players that nobody talks about. This guy is outstanding. Very athletic, not the biggest guy in the world, but very physical. Even though he's a little undersized, he plays much bigger than 195 pounds.
And gets some work again. Goes for only a couple of yards this time. So Beatty, who, you just said it, Eli Drinkwitz just said it, probably the best player that nobody really talks about. 254 yards on the ground last week against Vandy. Came into this game with 989 yards. And he has gone over 1,000 yards this year. 4th nationally in rushing yards and yards per game, 90 total points. I mean, he has been a one-man show, as Eli Drinkwitz, he'll be the first to admit, not a lot around him. Everybody knows that number 1's going to get the work.
No doubt. And Beatty reminds me, if he were in a different spot, he's like Bryce Love at Stanford. The guy would be a Heisman Trophy candidate if he didn't play in such a gauntlet of a conference.
ESPN College Football, presented by Marathon, is brought to you by Allstate. Save money like a champion with Allstate. And Duluth Trading Company, clothing and gear designed and tested to do.
Sports are pretty good around here, aren't they? When you got this team's got the number 1 next to their name, and then the Braves celebrating the World Series championship. They had the parade through Atlanta yesterday. Jock Peterson knows how to celebrate World Series championships, now back-to-back years.
Absolutely, and the Pearls. As you see Blooper.
Yeah, Blooper and Harry Dog hanging out together.
They're best friends, best buddies.
2nd and 8 coming off the timeout for Mizzou. They have 66 rushing yards against this defense that only gives up 76 a game. And only 1 yard there for Tyler Macon, the freshman quarterback.
Trips up Macon.
Guys, during a team meeting this week, Eli Drinkowitz asked six-year starting center Mike Maietti how many games he's played in throughout his college career. The answer, 51. Drink then asked, how many of those games were against the #1 team in the nation? None. It was a message that resonated with Mizzou players that this is a rare opportunity. Make the most of it and realize college players go their entire careers without a chance to play the very best in the country, let alone move the football against this defense.
Maietti, the center from Don Bosco Prep in Jersey, who was at Rutgers and then transferred over. 3rd and 6, and Macon taken down hard by Dean and Smith, the dynamic duo of linebackers for the Dogs.
And the reason why you call that play on 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 is because you anticipate going for it on 4th down. Make the 4th down a little bit more manageable with the quarterback run game. Can expect potentially here, maybe they empty that backfield again and hit another quarterback run. That's been something that's been effective so far on 3rd down and 4th down for the Missouri Tigers.
4th and 3. Pressure against Macon. Can he get free? Driving ahead, and he's going to be really close, but looks a little short as Quay Walker was able to wrap him up.
A great effort there by Macon. You just don't think he was able to drag Quay Walker just far enough, as it looks like he is. Just a little bit short. Great effort from the quarterback, just not able to keep his feet long enough.
So a turnover on downs, but you can see why Tyler Macon at least gives them a chance to move the ball with his legs and speed. Georgia's ball when we return to see more of #1 against Mizzou.
Wake Forest, North Carolina, Sam Hartman to Corey Roberson. Guys, this game has been back and forth all afternoon, 17-14 Wake.
But Matt, is it as good as this lid? I mean, that is a look right there.
It's a great
My man
look.
has come out for SEC football.
That's
Lady next to him looks, you know, she's got the pixelated houndstooth and the beautiful scarf, and then he's rocking that lid. Bennett downfield, and the one-handed effort that time by Kenny McIntosh.
How about the catch? The running back reeling it in. Unreal catch by the talented back that's such a factor in the passing game.
So he turns and backstrokes that catch for 31 yards, and then they go incomplete as he was trying to find Mitchell. Stetson Bennett, 6 of 10, 153 yards in the touchdown pass. That was to Arian Smith earlier today. Also had the really impressive deep throw, 46-yarder that set up the short yard touchdown run. It was Jermaine Burton who had that catch earlier, and then this one moments ago to Kenny McIntosh. Second and 10. Bennett to run. He's trying to wait on a block as Cedric Van Pran, the center, was trying to find work downfield. He goes for 8 yards, does Bennett.
This offense can just do so many different things. It's not super flashy. It's not going to just blow your mind the way the Texas Tech Red Raiders were back in the early 2000s. I mean, this is an offense, though, that's very efficient. And they give you a lot of different looks. The receivers, that what was a very young group, is now coming along, and the tight ends have come along. The offensive line's been solid. Just can throw a lot of different things at you. So many things you have to account for when trying to defend this offense.
Here's the quick screen, Bowers, and look at the stiff arm, and then the acceleration by the freshman tight end. The kid from Napa, California, who has been one of the real surprises this season.
How about it? I mean, that is unbelievable on the stiff arm.
Stacy Brown, the defensive back, who went flying. White undercut right at the line that time by Martez Manuel.
Bowers is just another piece, another guy that we didn't really know a whole lot about when we're sitting there at media days thinking, asking Kirby Smart, hey man, what are you thinking for your weapons? And he went, oh, we got good wide receiver. We got this young tight end I kind of like. I think he's got a real chance to contribute. I don't think any of us realized just how good Bowers is going to be. This dude is a complete difference maker.
Well, all the talk was Gilbert potentially being on the field, Washington, who's a 6'7" monster of a tight end, but it's been Brock Bowers. It was right from the start, right from the Clemson game, they started going to him and utilizing the freshman tight end. 2nd and goal. James Cook. Nothing there again. As coming around was Manuel again from that safety position. That'll be 3rd and goal.
I'm surprised that Georgia hasn't done some zone read stuff down here, this part of the field. As you can see, averaging just under 3 yards per carry. That's, of course, not the norm for the Georgia Bulldogs. I'm surprised, though, they haven't given that zone read, because the way Missouri's crashing toward the football, the pull might be there for Stetson Bennett around the edge.
To pass on 3rd and goal. And incomplete. Flag is down right at the goal line as he threw. It was incomplete, looking for Bowers.
The back of the end zone, the second flag.
Ineligible receiver downfield. On the offense, number 19 was covered up. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
So he wasn't the end man on the line. Wasn't an eligible receiver.
Yeah, and he's really upset with his wide receiver because he covered up Bowers on the end of the line of scrimmage. And that's a good stand there from the Missouri defense.
Sure is. And they've earned it with the way they have played in some of these short yardage situations. Jack Podlosny comes on. Pod, of course, best known for his game-winning kick in last year's bowl win against Cincy. And they'll cap it with 3. Georgia's up 19-3 at home against this feisty Mizzou bunch. Hey, this season, along with their contributions to university's general scholarship funds, for every field goal and extra point made, Allstate will also be donating to the American Red Cross to help with disaster relief efforts. Thank you, Allstate. Uga and Harry.
Who's got it better than Uga?
Oh, nobody, please.
I'm a little disappointed. I'm a little disappointed with the plastic Tupperware water bowl, though. I mean, that thing should be gold.
Like painted porcelain?
No, 24 karat gold plated.
He's deserving of it, that's for sure. Let's check in with Matt again.
Hey guys, we have it pretty good in studio here. Coming up in the Lexus halftime report, Ohio State kind of messing around with Nebraska. We'll check in on the 5th-ranked team in the country. Plus a battle of the Sams. Howell versus Hartman. This one is fascinating. In Cincinnati, look, they had college game day. They've got the atmosphere. What do the guys think of them being ranked 6th early on? Jesse Palmer, Joey Galloway join me coming up on the Lexus halftime report.
Look forward to that. Sam Howell has a couple touchdown runs in that game. Hartman has a touchdown run and a touchdown pass. Meanwhile, we've got 19-3 here. Brady Cook back in at quarterback for Mizzou. Cook to set up the screen on 1st down. He does so to Beatty, and look at the pursuit. Just immediately swarmed by Lewis Seam. Semifinalist for the Thorpe Award. He is the field general of the defensive backs for the Dogs.
That was great pursuit. I mean, it looked like there was a lot of room there. And then you blink, and sure enough, there's 4 red jerseys collapsing on the screen. Great job there at the 2nd level.
Second and 10. Beatty testing the right side, and Beatty can't get free on that side as well.
See this Georgia defense starting to settle in a little bit. Missouri's really going to challenge you on the edges of the defense. As you can see right now, not the start that Kirby Smart and defensive coordinator Dan Lanning had anticipated. So far, Missouri doing a pretty good job of being able to create with the run game, but they're certainly starting to button down the hatches a little bit defensively now.
But this the down and distance where you can have trouble. 3rd and 9. 4-man rush against Cook. Cook is going to tuck, run, and try to extend himself there, but he'll be a yard short as Quay Walker was able to take him down.
I feel like you would go for it if there wasn't 3 minutes left in the half, because you're essentially conceding points immediately. But now, knowing that you're approaching halftime, I think you have to punt it, knowing that the clock could be a factor with the Georgia offense.
Harris Jackson is back deep. Grant McInnes has to get this off quickly. Remember, they came after him earlier, and that was batted out of the back of the end zone for a safety. This his 3rd punt as they set up the return, and he skies it, and the fair catch at the 25. Hey, tonight we got LSU in T-Town up against Bryce Young and number 2 Alabama. It's 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. Chris and Kirk will have the call there. Of course, a couple years ago, LSU went to Tuscaloosa, that great 2019 team. They beat them 46-41. There's been a lot made and some great articles this week, especially with reflecting on Ed Orgeron, his career, about what happened afterwards and the post-celebration down there in Tuscaloosa.
It's not a lot of love lost between those two programs.
Short toss, James Cook, right side. Well blocked, James Cook weaving his way as a flag is down back at the 32-yard line. Let's see if they walk it back. Martez Manuel made the tackle.
Holding on the offense, number 63, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, 1st down.
And that's the center, Cedric Van Pran, who took over the starting center role when Warren Erickson, who was the starting center, broke his hand. When Erickson came back, they felt good about what Van Pran had done, who's a lifelong center, and he performed well, so Erickson went over to play guard.
Following the holding penalty, 1st and 14, the Dogs with the 22.
First and 14 after the penalty. James Cook made the first man miss, trying to pick up a block downfield, and he does. As he was looking for the seal from Brock Bowers after the initial juke at the line of scrimmage. And with that, he goes ahead for 17 yards and a Georgia 1st down.
And this guy is just unblocked in the middle of the field. But how about Cook just making a miss? I mean, just great job there. Usually surge, that's a negative yardage play for most backs, but not for Cook, who's very elusive.
So Kielmeyer struggles with him at the line, and then Cook goes ahead for 17. Sprint right, quick to the outside, and that's caught by Mitchell, and Mitchell has 9 yards with that reception.
This is a good opportunity for Kirby Smart and this Georgia offense. It's not often when you get real opportunities to rep your 2-minute drives. You might need one, obviously, against a game or in a game where it could come down to the final possession, and you got to use your 2-minute operations. They're not hyper speed yet. You can expect it here coming up in a play or two.
Cook on 2nd and 1. That'll be another 1st down for Georgia.
And now looks like this is where you'd want to pick up the pace a little bit. Still got your timeouts.
Now this is the last thing that Mizzou can afford to happen. Trajan Jeffcoat, who I told you a year ago was all SEC first teamer and is playing well in this first half, but rolling around in some pain on the field here at Sanford Stadium.
Yeah, hopefully he's okay as Eli Drinkwitz goes out to check on his talented defensive end. And this is not a very deep defense. They don't have as many dudes as some of the other teams in the SEC. So anytime you lose a player, the drop off from the number 1s to the number 2s is fairly significant for Missouri. So hopefully Jeffcoat will be okay and be able to return to this game.
Week 9 Monday Night Football, Justin Fields and the Bears in Pittsburgh to take on Big Ben and the Steelers. 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN with Monday Night Countdown at 6 p.m. You know, it's interesting. You get a game like this, and obviously Georgia a huge favorite, considering where Missouri is, who they don't have, the setting, the team, the opponent. So we talked to Kirby Smart yesterday about what's the mentality, and he said, listen, we just try to write the next chapter in the book. It's us against ourselves of improving against our own standard week to week at this point.
Yeah, and the opponent, and Kirby learned this obviously many years under Nick Saban, the opponent is nameless and faceless. It doesn't matter. You focus internally every week to play to your standard, and that's a pretty dang high standard for the Dogs.
Bennett. Good ball thrown, bobbled for a moment, and then Brock Bowers comes up with the catch. Bennett to Bowers.
Great catch there by Bowers. Just a little wide, but he reels it in, as now Georgia will rep their 2-minute offense.
Minute to play in the half. Bennett downfield again, and incomplete as Mitchell had a shot at it. 55 seconds remaining. Georgia with 3 timeouts as well. Coverage came from Allie Green, the grad transfer from Tulsa.
Brown wanted a penalty there. I didn't feel like there was anything significant enough to justify pass interference. As you see Allie Green, he is grabbing him a little bit, but he turns his head back around. And when the defender turns his head back around, even though there's contact, if he would have thrown a flag, I wouldn't have been shocked. But even though he turns his head back around, try to play the football, the official's usually going to keep the flag in his pocket.
Here's Bennett again. Look at the time he has to choose his weaponry, and he chooses A.D. Mitchell, the 6'4" freshman receiver. And it's another Georgia first down as he goes for 15 yards for the Dogs.
Mitchell was tapping his helmet trying to get a substitution, but not doing it here.
Bennett totally in command here in the 2-minute drill. Running out of options, goes cross the grain, and down near the goal line is Burton, and they're going to mark him down at the 1-yard line for the second time in this first half.
If you have Burton on your fantasy team, I'm sorry, because this now is twice where he's just a little bit short. It's really close, as you can see a timeout called by the Georgia Bulldogs with 23 seconds remaining. They might want to peek at that, because as he went down, it looked like he might have landed on a Missouri defender, and then he stretched the ball out over the pylon. Was he down? I think that's something potentially worth looking at, because it was really close. It was actually closer than I originally thought.
He was locked up, John Perry, with Jalen Carlisle. What do you see?
He is. There's a shadow underneath there, and I think when that right backside touches, it is just short of the goal line. I think it should stand as called.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if there's enough to overturn it, but like you said, that shadow made me think that there was a little space between him and the grass. It's a great effort either way by Burton, and just an outstanding job by Stetson Bennett, extending the play and finding the open receiver.
Guess who is coming onto the field again? It looked like Jordan Davis was coming onto the field. They're going to keep him on the sideline with the ball first and goal, and they're going to set up the direct snap here to Zamir White and James Cook in the backfield. Here is Cook, and Cook will take it in. So they shift to the unconventional formation, and they go with the direct snap, and it's a 1-yard touchdown run for James Cook.
Great job there by Georgia. It's very efficient in that 2-minute operation. Not only did you score, but you scored a touchdown, and you're going to kick it back to Missouri with only 18 seconds left. Just picture perfect execution by the Georgia offense.
It's a 9-play drive. 26 unanswered points now as Cook gets the 1-yard touchdown run.
And this is just a really nice job. So many different things they're going to throw at you. This is a pin and pull. You see the end of the line of scrimmage. They pin down that defense on the end, and you pull 2 guys out in front as the direct snap QB sweep to Cook cashes in for a touchdown.
This team sitting here at 8-0. Everybody's saying undoubtedly, far and away the #1 team we've seen in college football to this point. Riding a dominant defense. And as this first half worked its way on, you've seen an offense that's finding more balance and consistency. Got the 4th longest win streak in school history. Coming into today, they've won 12 straight. It is that time of the year, and we remind you, tip-off of the college basketball season is coming your way Tuesday, 5 Eastern. You got the #1 women's team, South Carolina, taking on #5 NC State. You got #3 Kansas against Michigan State at 7. And the reveal of the college football playoff top 25 rankings. Cap it with Kentucky and Duke, #11 and #9.
I'm so excited for basketball season. I have a bad taste in my mouth as an Alabama basketball fan with how things ended last year in the Sweet 16. I'm ready. I'm ready.
There's Beatty. He is forced out with 12 seconds remaining.
SEC and basketball in general, by the way. Saw Tom Crean, the Georgia Bulldogs head coach, on the sideline a little earlier. How good has this conference gotten in basketball?
Oh, tremendous.
I mean,
well,
amazing.
It was, the effort was put forth with coaching hires and the point of emphasis, and you've seen it blossom in recent years beyond Big Blue Nation. Beatty, final moments here of the first half as he will add to his total. Well, Mizzou struck first. They came out, played well with Macon running the ball, and got up 3-0. And then Stetson Bennett and the Dogs, they started to bark. And we've got 26-3 as we head to the studio for our halftime report.
Joe Tessitore, thank you. It is the Lexus halftime report. And if you like offense, then Wake Forest, North Carolina is your cup of tea. This game, 77 the point total. Sam Hartman keeps it himself.
The Wake Forest is 5th in the country in scoring offense, and you can see it early.
And then Sam Howell answers right away. He can run the ball.
Dude,
well.
he's 220 pounds, tough runner between the tackles. He's been doing this all season long.
Remember, a lot of people perhaps pointed at this game. Wake Forest, an underdog. This is not a conference game for either team. Hartman, Ja'Cory Roberson, what a grab.
And the over-under closed at 17.
That's UNC. 534 total yards offense in the first half.
Sam Hartman's looking for his 5th straight 300-yard.
Glad you're with us as we welcome you back to ESPN College Football, presented by Marathon. Joe Tessitore, Greg McElroy, and Katie George with you, watching the #1 team in the country with a 26-3 lead over Missouri. They give up 6.6 points per game, folks. That's it. They're right on that pace here, giving up 3 to Missouri. You came on the air, you had to justify why Stetson Bennett is the starting quarterback still for the #1 team in the country. He goes for 232 passing yards in that first half.
They made some great throws too down the field. I mean, that's been what's really working for Georgia, is the run game was, for the most part, kind of held in check there in the first half of this football game, but the downfield pass was not. It was a great job by Stetson Bennett connecting with several wide receivers down the field to create some big plays.
Onside kick to start the second half. They had to wait for it to go the 10 yards, and Missouri's celebrating, saying they've got it. So a surprise onside kick to start the second half by Mizzou, as it was Sean Ketting, the kickoff specialist, who most people don't expect to even be in play with Ketting on the field, because he's tied leading the nation in touchbacks per game, and he comes with a surprise onsider, trailing by 23. And it is indeed Missouri football, as Downing comes away with the football.
The field is that the onside kick was recovered by Missouri. That play is under review.
Dawson Downing comes up with the football. Sean Ketting. Let's watch here.
But here's the thing, is the ball has to go 10 yards before you can initiate blocks. And as you can see, the ball's at 9 yards, and there is a Missouri player that is initiating contact with the front line of that Georgia defense.
I think it was Jelani Williams, defensive back, who plays kick coverage. Let's bring in our rules expert, John Perry, for more clarity.
Lot to unpack here. Yeah, the touching is definitely beyond 10 yards. We're good there, but the block is a problem. You cannot initiate a block until you're legal to touch the football. In this case, I think it is an illegal block.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an illegal block.
After review, video evidence shows that number 4 of the kicking team blocked illegally before the ball went 10 yards. Therefore, it will be a 5-yard penalty. We will replay the down.
Here it is again. Watch Williams, number 4 on the kicking team, Mizzou. Watch where the ball is when he initiates contact.
Yeah, very clear right there. It basically just protects against your guys just steamrolling and blocking, and you're being able to kind of grab it behind. That's a good rule and a good execution of the rule there by this SEC officiating crew.
So
I thought I'd get a little.
I
thought I'd get a little love from John Perry there on knowing that rule.
You know what? We're very impressed. John, do you agree that you're impressed by
I thought John would
Greg
give me a little
McElroy?
love on that. I thought for sure. That was a deep dive into the rule book, John.
I am impressed weekly at your rules knowledge. And if this doesn't work out for you, we're going to put striped shirts on you.
I've worn striped shirts in a spring game in this stadium. I was the center judge, and I said that was the one and only time Steve Shaw fired me because I had a bad call and the hands to the face. So it was a one and done for me in the stripes, John.
And it's going to bring out the penalty on the other end as it runs out of bounds. There's a little extra something at the 40-yard line that the crowd is reacting to. Hey, moments ago, Katie caught up with Kirby.
Coach Smart, Stetson has made some really great throws, but we've seen even better catches in that first half. What needs to continue offensively?
Explosive. We want to be explosive in the run game. Maybe do a little better job blocking them up front. They're coming after us. We're trying to take advantage of it with some shots.
You've been animated on the sidelines. What are some areas you want to see cleaned up next half?
Penalties. Shooting ourselves in the foot. We shouldn't be penalized. Come out, be sharp, be crisp, execute, make them stop us.
Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
That was the conversation with Katie as they were going into the half, and now his offense out there starting at the 40-yard line. Zamir White in the backfield with Stetson Bennett. And White is going to look for something on the right side, doesn't find anything. That was Chad Bailey with the tackle.
And if you look at Stetson Bennett, just the throw chart, underneath stuff, when the underneath stuff is not quite as efficient as the downfield stuff, you're doing something right. That is fantastic. And to be able to connect on that many passes traveling that far in the air just goes to show you this is a big play offense. Even though Stetson Bennett doesn't have a massive arm, he's got plenty with the ability to throw it downfield.
And that is another one of these narratives that needs to be undone a bit. That by playing Stetson Bennett, it's a conservative move by Kirby Smart, as if Stetson Bennett doesn't have the ability to create explosive plays or downfield plays.
It's a false narrative because he has it. He can do it fine. And people say, well, you can't beat Bama with Stetson Bennett. He had the lead in Tuscaloosa last year at the half and played poorly. So I think he's very capable. This offense doesn't skip a beat with him at the helm, as you can see with the big plays he's been able to create today.
Listen, there are things JT Daniels does better. There are things Stetson Bennett does better, especially with his legs. As he goes to Darnell Washington, the 6'7", 265-pound tight end. He has been working his way back from a foot injury. He's banged up in fall camp. Of course, Brock Bowers, the freshman tight end, has been doing a great job at that position.
A great job at the tight end. This is zone coverage. You see those defenders drop out on a shallow cross route against zone, you sit it down. That's exactly what the big fella did there, and a great run after catch.
11 yards there to Washington. They go with jet motion with Jackson. Kearis Jackson cuts back inside the 20. And that jet motion handoff pays off for Georgia as Kearis Jackson goes for 37 yards on the ground.
Yeah, but how about the big fella out front? He just catches and converts for the first down, and then he leads the way on the corner. Just a good job of securing the edge there by Washington. And how about Jackson with the speed in the open field? This offense throwing a lot of things at these Missouri Tigers.
Bennett quickly to Burton. Burton inside the 5 and into the end zone. Now Burton was knocking on the door enough in the first half with 2 catches that were put down at the 1-yard line. This time he crosses the goal line, 12-yard touchdown.
You had to give him one, right? You just had to. He got so close in the first half on multiple opportunities, and Burton takes the bubble and walks it into the corner of the end zone.
Remember last year, George Pickens was getting all the attention. And it was Burton, who was a true freshman, became one of the go-to guys, and it is who Stetson Bennett went to here. And with that, Georgia is up by 30. You're watching the SEC on ESPN, and you are watching the #1 team in the country go up by 30 points over Mizzou. Georgia has now outscored their opponents by 280 points this season. They came in to this week with the best point differential through 8 games going back to 1910. More driven moment is brought to you by Goodyear. What do you got, G-Mac?
How about Kyrus after the great run down the left sideline? Kyrus Jackson attacking the outside, chops down the Missouri defender that springs Burton for the bubble touchdown. But how about the reaction after the fact? When you're just as fired up after a big play running the football as you are right there, flex on him, big fella. Just a great job there by the slot receiver, who's such a playmaker with the ball in his hands, but getting the assist there for his buddy Burton as he finds the end zone.
There's no doubt Jackson more excited about that than the 37-yard run he had earlier on the drive. Tyler Macon back to work here and cannot connect with Daniel Parker. So Missouri went up by a field goal to start the game, and then since then a punt, a turnover on downs, a punt in the end of the first half.
2nd and 10, Missouri, the 25.
Obviously, it's going to be a tall order to come back and win this one, but you got to get a little momentum offensively for the next few weeks.
Try to do that with Beatty, and instead Beatty is taken down by Jordan Davis, the Heisman hopeful, as many have been screaming his praises. Most dominant defensive player in college football, according to most.
Yeah, he's hard to miss. Here he is right here over the left guard, just throwing the left guard in Luke Griffin and tossing down Beatty as the big 350-pounder makes his presence felt on every snap. But that one in particular, just shoving a guard, an SEC guard with one hand to drop the back in the backfield.
And think about his size and you see his quickness and his athleticism. It is so impressive. Macon brought down. That is Walker with the sack. Talking about freakish athleticism. This guy can play down, up front, in space, standing up. And last week we saw him dropping into coverage and deflecting a ball for an interception.
Tough two-play sequence here for the left guard Griffin. He gets beat up by Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis goes out. You say, oh, thank goodness, I get a rest. And then in comes Walker, who drops the quarterback for the sack. Just a great job there. Look at that bull rush. Just speed to power, just dump trucking the left guard.
They clock Walker at over 20 miles per hour with the GPS system. McInnes' punt goes back towards the 40-yard line. And there is Trayvon Walker coming up with Georgia's first sack today.
ESPN College Football, presented by Marathon, is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. And Ford, built for America.
Well, it's great to see Georgia recognize Coach Mark Richt at halftime. And former players here Everybody coming out to celebrate Coach Rick and all his achievements that he had here at Sanford Stadium.
Just a first-class guy, man. Just one of the best people I've had the opportunity to cover. I mean, just so gracious and just a guy that we're so happy that we have had the opportunity to work alongside him and get to know him over the years.
Well, look who's back. JT Daniels, for the first time since the first quarter against Vanderbilt on September 25th, comes in to replace Stetson Bennett with Georgia up by 30 in the third quarter. End around it, Smith. Here comes that track speed of Smith, and it's an easy first down as he turns the corner. So JT Daniels, who started all 3 games he has played, but hasn't played since September 25th, missing significant time with that right lat muscle injury, Greg.
Yeah, and he's obviously a very gifted thrower, but where he really excels is prior to the ball even being snapped. He has elite mentals, being able to diagnose coverage, make adjustments within the offense, both in the route tree and in protection.
McIntosh only able to get maybe a yard and a half.
This is a young man, very accurate passer. And of course, when he was inserted into the lineup last year, this offense really took flight. But his injury has really opened the door for Stetson Bennett to lock down this position. As Kirby said to us and has said throughout the course of the season, there will come a time when we need JT Daniels to win us a football game. And who knows when that day will come, but he's ready to go, that's for sure.
Swings it to McIntosh, and then McIntosh is driven well out of bounds by Chad Bailey. And you hear the crowd not liking that. There's no penalty flag.
I didn't have a problem with the official not throwing the flag right there. I mean, the tackle, he starts it in bounds, and he's just trying to finish the tackle. I mean, he's not slamming him. Watch out, Katie. Right there, obviously a little late. I can understand why, because it went down way outside the out of bounds line, but since the tackle was really initiated in the field of play, I don't have a problem with the no call.
Third and 3. McIntosh wrestled down right at the line of scrimmage. He couldn't get going anywhere as Hansford was able to get a hold of him.
And Kirby opting to leave his offense on the field. He's got to be disappointed right now with their inability to really just line up and pound the football, running the football. One of the worst rush defenses in the country is Missouri. And Georgia just can't consistently get enough push to create any momentum in the run game.
Now, Missouri, that is their first charge timeout of the half.
Mizzou will use a timeout as Georgia's facing a 4th down when we return to Sanford Stadium here in Athens. Taco Bell welcomes you to the Live Más Student Section of the Year contest. Hashtag Student Section Sauce. To get the committee's attention, and go to ESPN.com/Taco Bell and you can see how your school competes. There's the paint line down there, Greg. It started back in '97, the paint line. His 4 friends started doing it, and here we are all these years later. And there are showers filled with red paint deep into the night to this day. 4th and 3, and that is complete to John Fitzpatrick as a flag is down. As JT Daniels at the 7 yards.
On the defense, number 18, that penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
A good job there by JT Daniels, getting the ball out of his hands very quickly, taking advantage of that void in zone.
First down at the 12-yard line. Daniels came in on this drive, replaced Stetson Bennett. Short pitch, McIntosh with a blocker in front as he gets it to the 7-yard line. Aldridge with the tackle. So last year, Daniels comes in the last 4 games. Remember, he was recovering from the ACL, comes over from USC, and those last 3 regular season games and the bowl game, that had everybody talking like, wow, this is the guy now. This is the big recruit everybody was talking about when he came out of Mater Dei High School in Southern California, the guy who started as a true freshman at USC. And then 3 starts this year, the lat injury. Bennett's been just fine, and now he is back. 2nd and 5, inside screen, McConkey, touchdown. Ladd McConkey with his 3rd of the year. And there is Stetson Bennett cheering on JT Daniels.
Just stealing here as it's all-out pressure from the Missouri Tigers. So what beats all-out pressure? Screens. You just get plenty of action. You take 2 for 1 out here because of the man coverage. And it's a walk-in for Ladd McConkey. Welcome back to JT Daniels as Stetson Bennett loves it. Great execution against the all-out pressure.
This is the conversation we had earlier about their relationship. Listen, they have completely different personalities. You got the one cool, chill Southern California guy, and you got the feisty, constantly always trying to prove himself, overachieving East Coast guy from Georgia and Stetson Bennett. But they both love this team. They love hanging around together, helping each other out. You see right to each other on the sideline as soon as Daniels comes off the field after throwing that touchdown pass, his 6th of the year.
You got to have that, man. I mean, when your backup quarterback is just as happy as you are to score a touchdown, that's what you want to see. I mean, you guys are in that room. You spend more time together than you do with anybody else. So it's great that they have such a great relationship.
Guys, I want to revisit something that happened in the last series. Travon Walker's got a high motor, and Tess, I don't know if he clocked 20 miles per hour on this sack here, but he might have been close. And he told me this week, yeah, I'm kind of fast. And he says he grew up in the country, Thomaston, Georgia, and there was nothing but land. So he ran and raced with other kids for fun growing up. He then played basketball in high school, winning 72 consecutive games and back-to-back state titles. He says playing hoops helped his footwork, speed, and overall explosiveness.
Oh, there's no doubt about it as they get the completion of Bannister here. You mentioned the high school basketball success, Katie, the 72 straight wins. That was at Upson Lee High School. He was a great hooper there.
It's so funny because when you put on the tape and you're watching and you see big Jordan Davis, like, all right, you know he's enormous. And then Jalen Carter's in there, number 88, and they're both huge. You're like, who's this little guy, 44 on the edge, man? This guy's tiny.
Yeah.
And then you look up his measurables. He's 280 pounds at 6'5".
Isn't that something?
Great athlete, man.
It really is something. I mean, I said this to you when we started getting into the film earlier this week. Just the sheer size, yet married to the speed of the front 7 of these players.
That's what's
everybody's
crazy.
Big, but everybody's also blazing fast.
That's what's crazy.
Tyler Beatty on 3rd and 3, and he is brought down by Quay Walker. Quay Walker, who had 13 tackles last week against Florida, and a flag is down on the far side. Could be offside here.
Offside on the defense, number 9. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Yardage results in a first down.
Kirby.
Well, Kirby's saying that's my cornerback. That's a mere speed.
I guess that's what you call press coverage if you're lined up offsides. Not often is the corner offsides, that's for sure, but fresh set of downs for Missouri, and did they need it? Because they haven't been able to do much offensively the last few drives.
They have 26 passing yards in the game. 26. Brady Cook, the quarterback, on first down. There's the slant. He threw it behind J.J. Hester. You do not want to do that, and you especially don't want to do it with guys like Latavius Brini coming up to play the ball.
How about it? I love this too by Brini. Look at him make sure he gets his head to the side. Good, clean hit. Sometimes, you know, you get the headhunter. The guy's launching, trying to take a dude's head off. Brini hits the body right at the aim point. Good, clean hit to break up the pass.
Cook on 2nd and 10 does have time as he goes underneath to Beatty.
Pass is complete to number 1, Tyler Beatty.
This is such a good opportunity for Missouri to just evaluate these young quarterbacks, getting them great work and working against an NFL defense, man. I mean, there is just very, very small windows, very difficult to create any offensive momentum. This is a tremendous test. And really your first extended college action of the year.
Tyler Macon looks on. He started the game. Brady Cook has been getting series. Now a 3rd and 5. 4-man rush. And Cook still has to extend the play. And he does. And was that complete? He was trying to hold on to the ball, but it looks like Dove did. And that's a first down for Mizzou, as Toski Dove was trying to still corral the ball as he went down to the ground, and he goes for 19 yards.
Let's see if Toski was able to secure the catch. A beautiful throw. I mean, perfectly thrown. See the ball kind of squeaking through. Where is it? Or Missouri, I'd snap it quick.
Greeny came in defensively and was knocking it loose. Downing was met and then wrestled down by Walker.
Good catch there. Play a go by Toski Dove. I mean, a beautiful throw too by Cook. I mean, when the defender's back is to you, he can't see the ball. Just throw it right over his head. That's exactly what he did. Missouri finally breathes a little life into that passing attack.
Calling a gain of 2, 2nd down Missouri.
Dominic Lovett is in the backfield. Now he splits to the outside top of your screen on 2nd and 9 for Brady Cook. And he looks that way but overthrows the intended target. Jackson had coverage of Lovett. So it'll be a 3rd and 9 for Brady Cook, who was the first commitment to their 2020 signing class. Remember, that was first with the old staff, so he's a guy who came in and stuck around with the coaching change with Eli Drinkwitz. And we remind you that Tuesday at 9 o'clock, it'll be the College Football Playoff Top 25 reveal. Of course, that nice, shiny number 1 next to Georgia's name. There's no big drama this past Tuesday when that was announced. 3rd and 9. Cook's going to loft it down the near side, and it goes right through the hands of Kiki Chisholm. Kiki Chisholm, who caught a Hail Mary pass for a 45-yard touchdown last week at Vandy.
Yeah, and Chisholm's their go-to guy, and that's one he had to have had. I mean, that ball was on the money. In very tight coverage between 2 defenders, and it goes right through your receiver's hands. I mean, that's one you have to catch, especially when you're targeting your go-to guy.
Brainy and Lassiter were all over him there. This will be a 4th down and 9. Ninth play of this drive with Brady Cook, the longest we've seen today. Fourth and 9. Cook is going to tuck and run and try to get it. And right at that line to gain, Jackson came up and played him.
Really close. I believe he got it. Good job by Brady Cook. Let's look. It's a good surge. Yeah, I think it's a good call by the official. Good spot as that ball just barely got enough for the conversion.
looking over for review here.
The ruling on the field is a first down. That play is under review.
Well, they're looking at the spot. Brady Cook.
Where's the ball? Does look. That ball is spotted just inside the 29-yard line. And based on that first look, it does look like the ball is right at that spot. I think this play is going to stand based on the initial look that we saw from the side. Look at the ball right here. As he's hit, he's in bounds right there. Where's the ball? Boom. Just inside the 29-yard line.
Hey, reminder that UFC 268 is tonight. It's from Madison Square Garden. Usman against Covington. The welterweight title on the line. The prelims will get you started over on ESPN News, Deportes Plus at 8 p.m. And then, of course, the main card is on pay-per-view. Usman and Covington for the welterweight title tonight from Madison Square Garden. I don't know how many knockouts threats remain on Georgia's schedule. They're going to be wrapping things up here in the second half against Mizzou. They'll face a more threatening offense at Tennessee. And then, of course, as they always do with the rivalry game, clean old-fashioned hate at Georgia Tech on November 27th. But everybody's already circling that day to Saturday, December 4th in Atlanta for the SEC Championship.
They need to, obviously, you might have that day circled, but they don't know who they're playing yet.
Well, you know, it's funny because we spend the whole year saying, hey, Georgia, Alabama, Georgia, Alabama. Don't look now, but things are bubbling up with the Auburn Tigers, aren't they?
They are. And Auburn is a dangerous team this time of year. Alabama has won 3 national championship games since they last won in Jordan-Hare. So that's a difficult place to play. And you know Auburn, an improved Auburn team, will have something up their sleeve for the Tide.
We are so due for a Wake Forest, North Carolina update. What do you say, Matt?
Asking you shall receive. Sam Hartman now has accounted for 5 touchdowns, 3 through the air, 2 on the ground. He could be on pace for one of those coveted helmet stickers on College Football Final.
Play stands is the result of that review. John Perry?
Look, one of the things that has lost in our game of an art form of officiating is common sense. It's 40-3, and it's a really, really tight play for a team that's getting beat by 37 points. Give them the first down and roll.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
On behalf of football viewers everywhere who enjoy the flow of a game that at the end of the day is entertainment. Thank you, John Perry. Here's Cook after they did convert the first down.
Little referee on referee crime there.
But listen, and John is a very level-headed guy whose father headed up Big Ten officials. John, of course, went on to great success both in college all the way from being the premier official in the NFL, officiating 3 Super Bowls. He gets the big picture.
Yes. And one thing, there's nothing that drives me more crazy than a review that doesn't really matter. You know, I mean, ultimately, all you're doing is you're affecting the offense's momentum. Just give him the first down. Let's rock and roll.
Here's Cook on 2nd and 10. And look at Dan Jackson. You think Dan Jackson has come to play, right? He was the guy that came up and met him on the sidelines of the play we were reviewing. He's the guy that nearly jumped on the ball when we had the block punt earlier. Remember, he did that earlier this season, pouncing on a ball against Arkansas for a touchdown.
Yeah, and how about the hit right there on Brady Cook as the pressure came off the right-hand side, unblocked. Be careful. Keep that head up, because any incidental contact start to run a little bit of a risk there anytime you hit a quarterback a little bit late.
There's Channing Tindall. 3rd down and 8. Cook brought down by Nolan Smith.
Yes. Just a great play. Do you think they knew this was coming? Watch this right here on the end of the line. He's just going to collapse on this quarterback draw. Look at, as soon as that, I mean, just immediately, as soon as that quarterback puts his back foot in the ground to escape north and south, Nolan Smith stopped his tracks immediately and collapsed on the quarterback. Just excellent play there by the defensive end.
48-yard attempt for Mevis. One of the best kickers in the country, off the upright. So he came in having hit 19 straight, started the game with a field goal, and misses the 48-yarder.
Looked like it was well struck, end over end. Nice hold, laces out.
Laces out.
Just a little off balance, leaning to his left, but the kick was true, just the tiniest bit off the mark.
This kid's good though, Mevis, let me tell you. He was 3 for 3 beyond 50 on the year. That was his first miss on the year there. Hit that amazing 56-yarder in that game that went to overtime that they lost up at BC, but it was like a big-time pressure kick. He's got a good leg. JT Daniels was hit as he throws. That is dangerous, extending yourself, coming forward. And then Martez Manuel was right there as Daniels was trying to stride forward.
And right there, I mean, that was very lucky because Martez Manuel, there was a bust in the protection. Martez Manuel was completely unblocked, and there's nothing worse, telling you as a quarterback, there's nothing worse than an unblocked safety. Because those guys, not only can they absolutely hammer you because they're strong as can be, but they're fast as can be too. You think those D-line hits hurt? They don't. The safety hits. My ribs still hurt from a hit that Eric Berry gave me about 12 years ago.
Look at Edwards out of the backfield.
I can't tell you how impressed I am with the blocking on the perimeter from this Georgia team. I mean, these receivers, in this particular case, you have a tight end against a Manuel who just delivered the hit, ironically enough. So that's a little unfair, especially when that tight end is 265 pounds like Washington was. But they do a great job on the edges blocking a wide receiver here for the Bulldogs.
Ball was thrown behind and intercepted by Carlisle. Daniels threw it behind the intended receiver, and it is picked off. Jalen Carlisle with the interception as Daniels could not connect with Jermaine Burton.
Man, and he had a hole too. I mean, it's wide open. I mean, as a quarterback, you just have to hit that. I mean, it's behind the intended wide receiver. It gets tipped up, and it's an easy interception from Carlisle. One of the few big plays. It just kind of glanced right there off of Caleb Evans' helmet. An easy interception, just off the mark. And talked to Kirby Smart. I mean, he said, man, he's rusty. I mean, for as accurate and as good as JT Daniels is, he hasn't played. He hasn't had a ton of practice reps. That's a perfect example. That's a rusty throw off the mark on an easy completion.
So off the interception, Brady Cook, as he goes to Downing. You know, Kirby had said coming in with JT Daniels, he kept using, maybe ease him back into things. And Kirby was the one pumping the brakes a bit in terms of workload and where these two quarterbacks are. And he said, you know, hey, we're going with the guy that's been out there the most, the guy that's been practicing the most, the guy that's been playing the most, the guy that's been winning. And that was Stetson Bennett. Although you've heard from a lot of national media, a lot of fans, people saying, yes, but if they are to defeat Alabama, if they're to win a national championship, it will take somebody with the talent of JT Daniels. And Mizzou falls on it.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think, too, and and we'll hit it again in the fourth quarter here, but it's really hard to stay in rhythm as a quarterback. I'll give you a good analogy as to just how difficult it is to stay sharp throwing the football when we returned that. I think everybody will be able to relate to, especially as the holiday season starts to head our way.
What a tease.
Oh, you like that? You got to stay with us now.
Anywhere,
no, you better stay with us. Keep that headset on.
How about
Keep it locked in here.
I mean, this is broadcasting gold out of G-Man. Start of the fourth quarter as we welcome you back to ESPN College Football presented by Marathon. Joe, Greg, and Katie here as Georgia's up 40-3. And Brady Cook with a run for a first down.
I told you before on the JT Daniels interception that staying sharp in the passing game is kind of like a diet. Like you're going to eat well, you're going to lose weight, you start on a diet, right? That's kind of where we're at. And as we head towards Thanksgiving, all the great things I've done for my diet go out the window my third trip through the Thanksgiving buffet line, right? Gain it all back.
Yeah.
That's kind of what the passing game is like. When you miss as much time as JT Daniels missed, you're not going to be very sharp. You can work all summer, all spring, have a million reps, and then you take a week off, and next thing you know, it's like you've never thrown the ball before. So it's one of those things that's very difficult on the passing attack.
10-yard penalty from the previous spot. We play first down.
Is this your way of telling us you're going like plus 15 in about 3 weeks?
Yeah.
It's on.
The guy that you're standing next to right now is going to look very different come December 5th or 6th,
Just
whatever
enjoy
day
yourself.
It is. 1 month
whatever
from
it
now.
takes. Just live fully is all I ask of you.
Live fully and joyfully. You good with that?
I'm good with that. Missouri offense has had only 155 total yards against this stellar Georgia defense. Cook looks left. That ball was deflected. Let's go to Matt again.
Is there any chance we can start the Sam Hartman Heisman Trophy campaign after today? He is absolutely lights out against North Carolina's defense. A.T. Perry gets to the pylon, and it is all Demon Deeks. But wait a second. Another Sam gets into the action. Sam Howell gets the touchdown. This thing is crazy. 45-27. Wake.
I mean, give credit to what Wake has done this year, especially offensively. This dynamic offense that they have. The undefeated Demon Deacons. Cook running out of options. So he goes to J.J. Hester. College football playoff rankings are brought to you by Allstate.
As you can see, Wake Forest putting a show on in a game that apparently is defense optional. And you look at what Wake Forest has coming down the stretch. Now, I don't know if they're going to have the strength of schedule to overtake the Big Ten champion if it's Ohio State. I don't know if they're going to have enough firepower to overtake Oregon if Oregon runs the table the rest of the way because of the non-conference win against Ohio State that the Ducks have. I don't even know if they're going to be good enough to get over Cincinnati, but that's a team that people are still sleeping on, and people need to wake up because that's an offense that can really get after you.
Cook gets a complete pass midfield for a first down to Barrett Bannister. You know, so they're putting up this big number against North Carolina today. Then they're home against NC State. They're at Clemson, of course, an unranked Clemson team. And then after Thanksgiving, they're at BC, a BC team who now has Phil Dracovic back at quarterback. Saw him come back last night in the win. But undefeated's undefeated.
Yep, it is. But at this point, just like Oklahoma, and if you look at Wake Forest, they've had moments like against Syracuse where they went to overtime, or against Louisville where it wasn't pretty, against Army where they gave up 1 billion yards on the ground. I mean, there's a lot of things to be very questionable about with Wake Forest. One thing that's not in question is that they have a great quarterback and they can score a lot of points.
Brady Cook with a spirited effort, and then flipping and twisting over near the hedges.
Well, guys, I love Kirby Smart's messaging this past week. On Tuesday, he encouraged his team to watch the Atlanta Braves play for a World Series championship rather than the college football playoff ranking show. Sorry, ESPN, but he said there was no need to watch it. Of the 7 teams who were ranked #1 on the first night of the rankings when they were unveiled, only 1 team went on to win a national title. Georgia, of course, was one of those teams. 6 #1 teams lost their way. N'Kobe Dean told me the reminder from the head coach was unnecessary. He said, as players, we're unfazed by their ranking. He says all that matters is how we finish.
I mean, there's always a lot of football to be played, critical games down the stretch.
I'm going to take issue with Kirby Smart, though, saying he told his players not to watch the playoff ranking reveal show. Point taken, but the Braves game started at 8:09. The playoff ranking show was on from 7 to 8. Come on, coach. Got to watch the worldwide leader for the rankings release, right?
As Cook was taken down. And speaking of which, we'll remind folks that the next ranking show will be coming up this Tuesday. We'll see what happens. Everybody reacting to the news of Cincinnati coming in at #6. I actually think there's a more interesting story with Alabama at #2, which, you know, the consensus was, oh, that was a no-brainer. We felt, hey, Alabama's #2 team in the country. Well, then be very, very careful of cementing that opinion and going counter to it when we could have a certain scenario in the SEC championship game, 3rd and 7. As Cook is going to tuck and run, spin and drive the legs and come close to that mark to make. Because, Greg, I would tell you, if you say Alabama was the no-brainer #2, and then they play a highly competitive game against this Georgia squad, 1-possession game, maybe Georgia comes on late, whatever, 1-possession game, 1-score game. Wouldn't that further cement the idea that Alabama is indeed the #2 team in the country?
I can't get comfortable with that.
Why?
Because your best moment can't come in a losing effort. That to me, I don't.
So it's more impressive for Ohio State to beat a middling Minnesota team in a Big Ten championship than it would be for Alabama to play down to the wire against Georgia?
Well, I think obviously playing Alabama against Georgia, playing Georgia close is a better accomplishment, but I can't sit there and if that's the notable moment of your season, the most notable moment of your season, I can't sit there and say, well, that's why you need to be in the college football playoff. I want to reward victories, and if you're moral victories, I cannot equate that to being deserving of a playoff spot.
I want best. I want
with that.
Best teams. And if you're telling me Georgia's far and away the #1 team in the country, and there's a team that plays them punch for punch right down to the wire, then you're telling me that team is in that class. 2nd and 7. And taken down is Cook as he is sacked again. And this time it is Dumas Johnson with the tackle of Cook.
And a great job there on the trigger there by Johnson. You see him at the second level. He's just going to fire through. As soon as Cook starts to move, he goes. Little green dog pressure there from the Georgia Bulldogs. Don't get me wrong. I think Alabama is the second best team in college football. You won't find a pushback. And if they lose to Georgia, they might still be the second best team, in my opinion. But it doesn't mean they're deserving of a playoff spot. But this is something.
So there's a difference, a great difference between deserving and best.
I don't disagree with that.
The catch over the middle is made by Swinson. You see, I think we fall back, and I think this is what can happen. Just falling back to that AP poll mentality is what I'd like to avoid. Where, if you lose, you get knocked down. Well, it's how you lose, who you lose against. How good of a team are you really? Remember, Mevis had the miss earlier, had the long streak, and then missed from 48. So he had made 20 straight field goals, and let's see if he can start a new streak. This from 42. He's got great elevation. Ball just pops off his foot as he puts it through. And Missouri has 6 points against the top-ranked defense in the land.
The AT&T Countdown to the College Football Playoff National Championship. Monday, January 10th on ESPN. Run it.
Reminder, LSU is taking on Alabama in Tuscaloosa tonight. #2 team in the country in action, 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. Of course, No Georgia student shall walk under that arch until they have their diploma in hand. Beautiful campus here in Athens. Ketting kicks away, and that gives us the chance to take a short break. We'll come back in just a moment.
Welcome back to Athens. Bulldogs up big as the sun is finally shining. Hey, you two in the booth, it's time for the AFLAC trivia question. How many coaches on the 2015 Alabama National Championship staff are now head coaches of teams in the CFP Top 25?
Well, that's interesting. Obviously, we got one right in front of us.
Okay, there's one.
There's one for sure. Mel Tucker.
Oh, Mel Tucker, what a season he's having.
At Michigan State. He was on that staff. Mario Cristobal at Oregon was on that staff.
He was the offensive line coach.
I feel like there's a trick play, though. Lane Kiffin. Ole Miss is in the top 25, so that's another one.
You're at 4.
There's a trick in there. I know there's one. There's got to be one that you're throwing a curveball at me.
Well, I certainly am, considering where you went to college.
Oh, wow.
Shots fired.
I believe Nick Saban was on that staff.
Edwards, good solid run again. All right, what do you got, Katie?
Ding, ding, ding. You guys got it right. 5 coaches were on that staff. I can confirm Nick Saban as well was the leader at the helm.
That is amazing.
That is the AFLAC trivia question. Of course, Jimbo Fisher breaking through this year in that typical little trivial nugget that everybody relates to when it comes to Saban assistants of going head-to-head against Nick. JT Daniels, that ball is batted.
Daniels pass. Broken up by number 20.
You don't say. There was a trivia nugget about former assistants.
You think? Like every time for 24 straight matchups?
Did you know that no Saban assistant has ever beaten Nick Saban? I feel like I heard that 1 billion times. As you can see, the 5 right now in the top 25.
But just pause and understand what Mel Tucker has accomplished this year. Because, Kirby was coming in with this roster. Lane, you knew the offense was going to be awesome. Oregon was expected to win the Pac-12. But Michigan State was a reclamation project. Michigan State was redoing the roster. Edwards, another good, strong run. With 42 new players on that roster.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. You look at that Michigan State team. Kenneth Walker might very well be the front runner for the Heisman Trophy. Him or Bryce Young, however you see it. Jordan Davis, doesn't matter. They're all in the mix at this point. But to be able to go from a roster that lacked juice and speed and athleticism to now overnight being able to overcome all of that is just remarkable. Michigan State, they'll have their hands full today, and I actually think they're going to lose to Purdue today. But
you think they lose
at
Purdue today?
I think it's Hangover City. And
really?
Purdue is a dangerous team.
Coming off the comeback against Michigan, you do not like Sparty today. Here's Ladd McConkey, a lot to like with Ladd. He had a touchdown earlier. He's a kid from North Georgia who's just a good route runner and one of the 5 fastest guys on the team. You talk to everybody here at Georgia, they said McConkey's top 5 in terms of pure speed.
Yeah, he can fly. And if you see him in isolations on the outside, it's go time. So he's been a nice addition, a guy that they're very excited about. This young group of wide receivers, him and A.D. Mitchell, they're going to be really good for a lot of years here at Georgia.
Heavy dose of Edwards again here with under 6 minutes to play. And Georgia defense that will take pride in not giving up a touchdown if they get to this finish line with still that 6 on the board with Missouri. They've only given up 5 on the year of the Georgia defense. They have scored 3 themselves.
And you really look at this Georgia team. They're so complete. But Kirby Smart's always going to nitpick, right? Like, how can we get better? And if you look at this performance today by the offensive line, now they're without their left tackle. And Jamari Salyer, he's going to be out for a little bit now. And I don't think the offensive line's been great today. by Georgia's standards. So that's, if there's one area where you're going to really look at this performance and kind of evaluate the whole performance, you got to be more efficient running the football in a traditional sense. Yes, Kearis Jackson had a 37-yard carry. Arian Smith had a 15-yard carry. They had some nice things on the end arounds and the jet sweeps, but in a traditional down the middle of the field run game against a defense that struggles against the run, they have to be a little disappointed with their performance in that regard.
Rosemy Jack Saint with the 7 yards on that last play. Savon Clark with the run straight up the middle. Hardest working player is brought to you by Duluth Trading Company.
And we got to give it to the guy that almost got in the end zone 3 times. Getting tackled on the 1 right there. Here's Burton again as he catches it. Dropped at the 1, but he finally pays it off. First drive of the second half, they feed him on the bubble, and Jermaine Burton finds pay dirt. He's been excellent. One of the veteran guys in that room, and has done a fantastic job making plays on the football today.
Clark again. All right, so how do you beat this team, Greg? If you're going to line it up and say, all right, let's build the team, or tell me the team that you like to defeat this seemingly unbeatable Georgia team, what is it? What does it look like?
Well, I think the best team, the team that has the best chance is Alabama. I don't think that should come as really any surprise. I mean, I think the way to beat them right now is down the field. I mean, at this point, and you can see it at times, South Carolina, a couple other games where there were some guys open downfield for some big plays in the passing game. So I think if there's one way that you got to kind of attack them, that's how you do it. It's going to be hard. You got to hold up in protection too, because that pass rush is ferocious. But I think that's really the only way. You got to be able to manufacture big plays. So if you don't have big play potential, you're in trouble. We're going to find out next week. I mean, Tennessee is a team that can create big plays. So we're going to find out whether or not Georgia's improved in that regard when they take on the Volunteers.
Alabama obviously has the weaponry on the outside with Williams with the speed and Mechie with the overall talent. Ohio State has weaponry out on the perimeter and downfield threats.
Ohio State's, I think, a very dangerous team. It's probably has its best football in front of it.
Daniels sends that out on 3rd and 4.
Ohio State now struggling a bit against Nebraska, which can't say is a huge surprise with the improvements that Nebraska's made throughout the course of the season.
Ohio State has Michigan State, has Purdue, Michigan State, and at Michigan down the stretch. Lesney coming on for the field goal attempt. "25-yarder is through. 43-6 Georgia with just 2.5 to play.
ESPN College Football is presented by Marathon, driven forward, and in part by Mazda.
Some of the great Georgia teams of a generation ago, of course, the Herschel years, the 1980 National Championship team, the 81 team, the 82 team. Of course, Todd Blackledge loves to talk about that Sugar Bowl. There's a great effort there with Penn State. And now this generation of Georgia, where they think they're going to break through, hopefully, at the end of this season. All right, this season in college football, we've been talking about it. What's up is down, seemingly.
It's wild. I mean, everything is backwards this year. You look at the Big 12, everyone thought Texas and TCU would have a chance to be great this year. No, instead it's Baylor, who is crashing the party with only 1 loss so far. You look at the Big 10, I mean, Sparty and Michigan. I mean, they're up. Amazing. Everyone thought Jim Harbaugh, oh, he's done. And then down 2 teams that were really in the mix last year. ACC with Wake Forest, what they're doing, and Pitt as well. Pretty amazing, and they're not the only ones. We'll get to the other conferences. It's just been a totally upside-down year, with the exception of the usual suspects in Alabama and Georgia.
Tyler Macon back into the game, and Macon downfield. It was a good effort on the ball that time by Swinson.
And you look at the ACC, of course, like we just referenced, and here's the SEC. Ole Miss, of course, been great. Kentucky, one of the biggest surprises in the SEC this year with how well they've played. And, of course, LSU, very up, very down. Has LSU been beating Florida and, of course, looking terrible against Kentucky.
Well, I think even as pronounced, when you go through those individual teams, is also what we thought the Heisman race would look like when you think preseason. I mean, heck, you know, you look here at JT Daniels. That was a name people were floating out there. Spencer Rattler's not even starting any longer. He was a Heisman favorite. So
DJ Uiagalelei has been out of the line.
And instead you got guys like Kenneth Walker.
Oh, my
sitting
goodness.
there on top. And then that guy right there, you see at the bottom of your screen, he's tough to miss. Jordan Davis at 6'6", 340 pounds. Now listen, it's going to be very difficult for Jordan Davis to even make his way to New York. But we've talked about it, how impactful he is. In recent years, you go back to 2009, when it comes to defensive linemen and Heisman finishes, Ndamukong Suh was number 4. I voted for Ndamukong Suh. I thought he was by far the most outstanding, most impactful player in college football that year. But through the years, guys like Jadeveon Clowney, Greg, was 6th. Chase Young was 4th. Jordan Davis, to me, is right at that level.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to
impacting the game.
Impacting the game.
100%. I've had defensive players on my ballot at least 3 or 4 different times. I've had Quinnen Williams. I've had Roquan Smith, who at Georgia at linebacker, he was unbelievable that year. And I had him on my ballot. I mean, I have no problem voting for a defensive player because the goal is to find the most. What a great catch there. The goal is to find the most outstanding player. Who's the most outstanding player in college football? And a case can be made for Jordan Davis. Look at the impact when he's on the field.
Look at the yards per play.
Yards per play down almost a full yard. Yards per attempt down. Quarterback contact, the likelihood of getting hit. If you're going to put together a list of the best players in college football, the most outstanding player, which is who the Heisman goes to, and he's not on it, your list lacks credibility. I'm not saying he should win it. I'm just saying he needs to be considered.
Teammates are all in on Jordan Davis for Heisman. Guys like Trevon Walker and Nakobe Dean, they say they're happy Davis is garnering the attention as a defensive player. He said if he were to win it or even get invited, teammates say it'd just be an inspiration, not only because he's a defensive player, but just because he's a big guy. Like, linemen on both sides realize they sometimes have a thankless job. Trenchmen on this team and probably far beyond are rooting for him.
By the way, on this last drive by Mizzou, Toski Dove has had 2 sensational catches. And now Macon trying to get to that goal line. And let me tell you something. These are the final seconds, but believe me, this Georgia defense does not want to give up a touchdown. They've only given up 5 on the year, and there's a timeout being used by Mizzou. Georgia's defense takes great pride in not giving up touchdowns. We got 23 seconds left in a timeout. Well, Missouri's in position to possibly score a touchdown against Georgia's defense because of Toski Dove. Dove's got a 27-yarder, a 31-yarder on this last drive.
I mean, back-to-back, man. Beautiful catches. High-pointing the football. I mean, it's amazing. And this is significant. You score a touchdown against Georgia, keep the football. Doesn't happen often.
They've only given up 5 touchdowns on the year. Harris, stonewalled and driven back. And Missouri's going to call a timeout. Missouri is going to call a timeout to try to score here in the last 15 seconds against Georgia. College football today on the SEC Network at 4. We've got number 17 Mississippi State. They've been playing really well lately against Arkansas. And then 7:30 tonight. What will Florida look like after last week's game against Georgia? They take on South Carolina in our SEC Saturday night matchup. Trevon Walker, the rest of those starters encouraging this group of defenders out there to stay tough down on the goal line. Third and goal. Crowd is roaring in a 43-6 game because they love this Dogs defense. Will this be only the 6th touchdown scored against them this year, or can they keep Mizzou out? Macon to the end zone, batted away. He was looking for Chisholm, but it was batted away. That was William Poole who was there defensively.
And that was one of those. It was kind of like the Super Bowl with the Seahawks and the Patriots. You have to throw on third down because you are out of timeouts. If you get stopped in a run play there on the 1-yard line, you might not have an opportunity to get to the line and snap it on fourth. So you got to throw it on third. Now you have your whole playbook. I'd run the ball. I'd run the quarterback, frankly.
Freshman quarterback is Tyler Macon. And Georgia does it. And the crowd loves it. As Macon couldn't connect with Parker. Trayvon Walker says, attaboy.
Oh, man.
They keep him at 6.
And Macon, this is one. I mean, he's got his wide receiver right in the flat. Parker, I mean, he's wide open. Just toss it to him. Oh, my goodness, it's in and behind him. That was not great defense on that play. It was wide open. It was just more bad offense. So great stand either way by the Bulldog defense.
Big learning experience for Tyler Macon today as he got the start with Connor Bazelak out. Bazelak was injured last week. Those guys are going to go marching forward. Number 1 team in the country. 9-0 with this win. JT Daniels returned to action. Stetson Bennett had 255 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Daniels came in, had a touchdown pass and an interception. And then there's that defense. 9 straight opponents now held under 14 points, right on average of keeping Missouri at 6. Boy, are they something.
Yeah, they can get after you, man. I mean, they are so impressive, so athletic, so disruptive. This offense, too. A lot of things to clean up. But, hey, you take a win, a dominant win, any day of the week against SEC competition.
And once again, just because people will be talking about it, the quarterback situation here, what you said about Stetson Bennett seems to hold for him.
It does. And I think Stetson Bennett doesn't get the credit that he deserves. I understand that. And people are disappointed naturally all the time. The quarterback's always going to be a lightning rod for criticism. Understandable. But Stetson Bennett gets the job done, man. I mean, he's smart. He's accurate. He's a good athlete. He complements your run game. And his teammates love him. So I think he's your guy at this point. Clearly seeing today, JT Daniels, great to see him out there, but not the JT Daniels that he was at this point last year. A little rusty, things to clean up.
What do you say, Katie?
Thank you, Tess. Coach Smart, the win was obviously in hand, but what did that stop on that final drive mean for your defense?
We met our points goal another week, which is important to them. I thought the offense group did a great job the second half, coming out and scoring the first drive. We didn't have to play as many defensive snaps, but I was really pleased with the way our guys finished.
We got to see both quarterbacks today. What impressed you most about the way the offense was ran?
I thought our guys were explosive. You know, we struggled a little more in the run game, and people continue to do that and take away the run game. We got to be able to be explosive and throw shots, and they did that.
You continue to write the book. What did today's chapter tell you about your team?
A lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. You know, we got one more home game, and next chapter should be better.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's what he says, Greg. Just write the next chapter, make it better than the chapter before. Beat goes on for Georgia.
There's something, man. I'm telling you, if they can get this run game going, a little more consistent, this is the best team in college football, and it's a pretty wide gap between them and the rest of the college football world right now, especially on the defensive side of the football.
Everybody touched the ball. Everybody got involved. Smith had a touchdown catch. McConkey had one. Burton had one. ran the ball well too. 43-6. Number 1 rolls coming up next. College football continues as Oklahoma State takes on West Virginia. For everybody on this crew, I'm Joe Tessitore, thanking you for watching. So long from Athens.
ESPN thanks you for watching this presentation of the Southeastern Conference.